Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti. A warm welcome to everybody. I'm Cristiana Giaccardi, sono Cristiana Giaccardi, direttrice operativa di Castellinaria. Farò una breve introduzione in italiano e in inglese per il pubblico in sala, per il pubblico che ci segue in streaming. I will do a short introduction in Italian and in English for the public in the room and for the public in streaming. La conferenza avrà luogo poi in inglese. The conference is in English. Questa conferenza è stata ideata lo scorso anno partecipando a numerose conferenze internazionali, tra cui una in particolare organizzata da Alekino, il cui direttore Jerzy Moskowitz sarà con noi oggi. E abbiamo pensato, osservando quello che succede in Europa nell'ambito della mediazione culturale, di creare uno spazio di condivisione e di discussione proprio qui a Bellinzona, se possibile in persona. E ce l'abbiamo fatta in parte, abbiamo degli ospiti di persona, abbiamo anche un ospite che ci segue in Zoom, quindi assisteremo a una conferenza in formato ibrido. This conference was thought the last year when participating to other international conferences, we noticed that in Europe there were a lot of movements regarding film literacy in other festivals, and we saw in particular a conference organized by Jerzy Moskowitz of Alekino, who will be in Zoom with us today. And seeing all those movements through Europe, we thought to create a space of discussion and a space where to share the best practices of film literacy in Bellinzona. We wanted to do it in person, and we made it. We have 4 speakers in person here in Bellinzona, but we are also hybrid, so Mr. Moskowitz is following us, and we speak from Poland in Zoom. Oggi daremo la parola ad alcuni dei più importanti festival europei per ragazzi e andremo a scoprire che cosa succede nell'ambito della mediazione culturale. E dopo la pausa apriremo una discussione alla quale siete tutti invitati qui a partecipare. We will hear the representative of the most important film festival for youth and children in Europe, and we will discover with them what is happening in Europe in this moment, and we will open in the second part an open discussion, and the people here in the room will be able to interact and ask questions. So, il piano è che ora avremo una presentazione dei festival presenti alla discussione fino alle ore 14:45, poi ci sarà una pausa di mezz'ora e alle 15:15 riprenderemo per una discussione aperta tutti insieme. The planning today is that now we will see the presentation of all the invited festivals, and we will have a break at 2:45, and we will begin again at 3:15 with an open discussion about film literacy. And now, in English, I just introduce you those speakers that we invited, and we have really the pleasure to welcome in Bellinzona. Simone Moraldi is project manager of the Cineteca Milano, and he will moderate this meeting. Daniel Lundqvist is head of programming at the Buff Film Festival in Malmö, Sweden. Jaroslava Hinstova is head of programming at the Zlin Film Festival in the Czech Republic. Jerzy Moskowitz in Zoom connection is director of Alekino Festival in Poland. Rian Vogel is responsible of the education department at the Cinekid in the Netherlands, and Arba Atashi is the director of the Anibar Animation Festival in Kosovo. So thank you very much, and now I give the word to Flavia Marone, president of the festival. Ora do la parola a Flavia Marone, presidente del festival, per un saluto ufficiale. Grazie a tutti.
Welcome here in Bellinzona, willkommen hier in Bellinzona, bienvenue à Bellinzona pour les gens qui sont en streaming. Buongiorno a tutti Per me è un estremo piacere salutarvi a nome di Castellinaria a questa nuova iniziativa di Castellineurope. In questo momento noi siamo collegati con tutto il resto dell'Europa e per noi è un motivo di orgoglio e all the Europe in this moment is here in Bellinzona and we enjoy for this. And I hope that you have a grateful afternoon and a very good job. And I also that in the future we will continue to be all together for the kids and for the film. Then thank you for being here. Thank you for being connected by streaming from Poland, and thank you everybody that are here with us in streaming. Have a good afternoon and a good job.
Grazie mille, thank you very much, and I give the word to Simone Moraldi, the moderator of the conference.
Grazie mille Cristiana, grazie Flavia, grazie a tutti per questo invito a Castellinaria. Thanks Cristiana, thanks Flavia, thanks for this invitation. I've been already introduced. My name is Simone Moraldi and I'm here on behalf of Cineteca Italiana di Milano. Sono Simone Moraldi e rappresento Cineteca Italiana di Milano. E it's a real pleasure for me to moderate this panel. And I hope it will be of interest for everyone. The program of the conference has been already drafted. Abbiamo già un po' introdotto il programma della conferenza. Prima di dare la parola prima di iniziare proprio effettivamente la conferenza, before starting the conference, I would like to introduce a little the topic of our debate, because we are in a very particular period now for cinema, for film festivals and for film education. Siamo in un periodo molto particolare, come immaginerete, per quanto riguarda l'educazione al cinema, per quanto riguarda i festival e per quanto riguarda il cinema in generale. In the last 2 years there has been a critical situation that has led to a weakening, an overall weakening of the relationship between cinema and the audience. È un periodo in cui si è assistito a un progressivo indebolimento, a una progressiva perdita di un rapporto che c'è tra il cinema e soprattutto con le giovani generazioni, che è un rapporto già difficoltoso prima it was a relationship that was already critical before the pandemic. This panel is around 3 important topics that are crucial now in developing a new strategy, a new vision for promoting art house cinema to younger audiences. Questo panel arriva in un momento in cui è strategico e fondamentale, a mio avviso, costruire un nuovo piano, una nuova strategia per riavvicinare i giovani al cinema, soprattutto il cinema d'arte di qualità, che è un prodotto che non sempre, diciamo, è nelle corde, which is a product which is not typically researched by younger audiences. E i 3 punti fondamentali intorno a cui quindi ruoterà il dibattito sono la mediazione culturale, l'educazione al cinema e tutti quegli strumenti quindi che servono a riavvicinare il pubblico giovane al cinema e il ruolo dei festival. So the main topics for this conference is around cultural mediation as a tool that is able to recreate this link between audiences and cinema in a period in which this relationship has been a little compromised. Film literacy and film education, which are a domain in which those objectives are a real priority, and that offers important resources for pursuing those objectives, and the role of the festivals across Europe. And we have such an important and relevant bunch of speakers that today will help us in getting through new ideas and new strategies in order to recreate this relationship. So thank you very much for Castellinaria for developing such a strategic moment of reflection. Grazie a Castellinaria per aver sviluppato un momento di riflessione così strategico e così importante in questo periodo. And now I don't steal any more time to the presentations. There will be a very first phase in which all the speakers will introduce their activities and in particular the educational activities. c'è un momento iniziale che sarà in inglese, adesso smetterò di tradurmi da solo in simultanea. I will start translating myself autonomously in real time, in cui ciascuno introdurrà l'attività del proprio festival, soprattutto in relazione a questioni, diciamo, educative. So, first speaker is Daniel Lundqvist from BUFF Malmö Festival for Young Audiences. So, Daniel, the floor is yours. I recommend you to stay within 10-12 minutes in order to let everyone have the space to discuss.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I will now tell you everything about BUFF Malmö Film Festival in 10-12 minutes. And we're starting with a geography lesson, as you can see here on the map. BUFF is located in Malmö in the south of Sweden. It's the third biggest city in Sweden. It's very close to Denmark and Copenhagen, which we can reach by the bridge in only 25 minutes. Malmö has about 350,000 inhabitants, and it's a very young city. If you look at the population, half of the population is younger than 35 years old, and 21% of the inhabitants are younger than 18. So this is a very good place, I would say, for a festival focusing on children and young people. And Malmö is also a very multicultural city with inhabitants from 179 different countries, and 1/3 of the inhabitants are born outside of Sweden, which makes the city the most multicultural in Sweden. So that is also something that we have to work with, and it is important for us in our everyday work with the festival. Okay. So in 1984, the first edition of BUFF took place, and the idea was to offer a greater variety of films for children and young people. And a big part of the festival was targeting schools. This is an article from the newspaper in 1984 where you can read that funny movies attracted the most. The audience were queuing for the famous movies based on books by the Swedish author Astrid Lindgren, such as Pippi Longstocking and the Brothers Lionheart. But you could read in this article that the movies from the Eastern Europe, they were not so popular. There was a film called The Sugar Cabin from Czechoslovakia about the poor girl Ondra, who has lost her father in the war, who attracted only 6 visitors. Now, 39 years later, BUFF has grown into a bigger event with a lot of film screenings, both for schools and for the public audience. We also have an industry program for professionals working with films and moving images connected to children and young people. A lot of them are teachers or other people working with film education. And today we also have a lot of activities during the year, so it's not only the festival week. We are a non-profit organization, and we have this mission to strengthen children and young people by giving them important film experiences that can create good conditions for an increased self-understanding and a feeling of being included in the society. And we mainly do that by selecting and screening films that are taking the young audience seriously and opens up for a greater understanding of themselves, their lives, and the world they live in. And with our industry and educational focus, we also aim to inspire filmmakers, teachers, and providers of content for a young audience. A lot of things are happening during the 6 days of the festival. We do not only screen films, but also arrange workshops and seminars. For many years, we have hosted the annual Film in School Day, which is arranged by the Swedish Film Institute in collaboration with the regional partner, Film in Skåne. And we try to encourage the teachers to work with the films that we screen in different ways. So we send out information before the festival. We do introductions to all of the films. We make our own study guides for some of the films. And after many of the screenings, we have Q&As with filmmakers, or sometimes with other persons connected to the theme of a film. It could be someone working with environmental protection, or a police officer, or sometimes it could be a person from a specific country, or a blind person, or we always try to find different angles of how we can use the film as a starting point for a discussion with the children. And one of the most challenging but important tasks is to attract young people to visit the festival in their free time. And to reach them, we do a lot of different collaboration. We invite different famous persons from TV or YouTube, and we aim to create an event that is the most fun week of the year for for all young persons interested in film. And during the year, we're working with our own film distribution, so the films we have found and are screening at the festivals will not only be available for a limited audience during the festival week, but they can also be screened during the rest of the year for children and young people outside of Malmö. We have started up our film club for teenagers, which is now, we're not trying to expand it, so it's going to grow outside of the city of Malmö. And we're also doing other things such as Buffylusk, which is a streaming platform for hospitals, so children who are sick and cannot visit the festival, they can watch some of the films from the festival on this streaming platform. So one of the things we have developed a lot since the start of the festival is the film program, and it is important for us to show films that complement all the films that are already out there and easy to access. And we also want to challenge the expectations of what is a children's film or what is a youth film, and show the audience that it can be a lot of different things. It's not only one type of film, and it's not only one genre. It can be a lot of different things, and we talk about a film that is 100% buff. It is a film with a clear young perspective, which means that it's a story told from the eye level of a child or a teenager. It is also a film that takes the young audience seriously, which means that the story has something important to say, but also that the artistic level is high. The quality of the film should be just as high as a film for an adult audience. It is also important to have a diverse film program, so every child or teenager should feel represented in our program, and it's especially important to show stories that are norm-breaking and open up for new perspective. And since 2005 we have an equal film program, which means we also look who is behind the camera, and we screen, we have 50% of the films we screen have a female director. And finally, I would like to say something, if I have time left, about film education in Sweden. And if you look at curriculums for primary schools, film has a peripheral part. There are formulas about film literacy in the subjects of Swedish and art education, but the most important formulas are the more general formulas about basic values or principles about identity development and about understanding of the surrounding world, which are central formulas in the curriculum and should be central for all subjects in school. So on one hand, it's good that we have these general formulas, but on the other hand, we can see that it leads to an unequal presence of film in schools. We see a lot of project-based film education and education based on dedicated teachers, so-called enthusiasts. So it's not an equal film education. It's very much depending on which school you are at as a student. And for me, it's surprising that film doesn't have a more significant position in the curriculums. It is the most popular art form, but it's clear that it doesn't have the same status as literature, music, art, and theater. And at the same time, film has a totally different presence in our everyday lives, and especially if you look at the everyday lives of children and the teenagers. Moving images are everywhere. From a very young age, moving images are even in our pockets nowadays. So I would say that from my perspective, it is more necessary than ever with education about moving images and how to analyze film and different messages, also in social media and in the news, for example. And it's necessary for the democracy. And here is my contact information and also information about the next edition of Buff. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks especially for being so precise on the timings. That's really appreciated because we would like to give the word to everyone. And talking about democracy, it's very important to have good timings. So thanks a lot also for reminding us that one of the key aspects of film education nowadays is the fact that image has become much more present in everyday life. Lino Micciche in Italy 20 years ago wrote that every person watched around 600,000 images per year, which is completely different than 20 years ago. It's changing very. I cannot imagine calculation made today. It was done before the internet. So thank you for reminding us this important aspect of the question, and thanks for putting on the table lots of questions, especially related to school inclusion and how to connect film education and festivals to other value chains represented. Such questions that will be discussed in second part of the conference. And thanks a lot for. It's okay. I go on. Okay. Thanks. Perhaps I was too close. Can you hear me? This way? Okay. Okay, so I give the word to the second speaker, which is right here, Rianne Vogel from Cinekid, from the Netherlands. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the invitation. I thought maybe before I start talking...
It's here. Okay.
It's here as well.
Okay, great.
So, okay, yeah. Thank you. I just show you a clip from our festival, which was a few weeks ago, because I think images show a lot more than my words. So let's see. And I think it's without music, because if it's with music, we have a problem with the YouTube and the streaming part. So let's see if this works. So that was with music. I hope it all works for the people at home as well. Yeah, so our main goal is to actively involve children in high quality media, and we see media in a broad way, so it's film, but also new media, digital culture. And we want to stimulate the production of the high quality media, as well as let the children themselves contribute to the creation of this media. Where can I see my presentation now? Over there. Okay. It's okay. I'll manage. So we had our 35th edition a few weeks ago. So we're almost the same age as Castellinaria, which is nice. The festival takes place in around 30 locations in the Netherlands, and online via Cinekid Play, our online platform. And in total, we have around 500 media productions, from short films to documentaries, feature films, VR, interactive installations. We have around 65,000 festival visits each year, with around 600 plus attending professionals. Next to the festival, we also have a year-round reach of around 150,000 children. So let's talk about the education program for today. I think maybe let me check if there's... No, I thought there was a clip after this, but we're going to do that later.
It's a clip?
Yeah, I thought there should be a clip here. It's okay. So the week before the festival, we organize a program for schools. We organize it in 3 different locations in Amsterdam for 5 days in a row. So this year we reached more than 5,000 children with this program, and even more throughout the country. And I think the clip is after this slide, actually. So this is a clip of 1 day of our school program. It's a short clip. Let's see. Okay, so in short, what we do during the festival, so we develop digital teaching materials for schools, which the teachers do themselves before the visit to our festival. And the materials exist of different fragments of the film, images, sounds, and that helps students to activate a critical and creative way of watching the film. So this is before the visit to the festival. And then, of course, we have the film screening itself. And after the film screening, we always organize an interactive program in the venue directly after the screening. And we do that to give like a playful insight into filmmaking. So, for example, on the picture you see on the left, you see a Foley artist who will start making live sounds with them of the film they just saw in the venue. So they get a playful understanding of what it can mean to make films. And also they visit our media lab, which is a big area where they get 1.5 hours filmed with media workshops, installations, VR, etc. Well, another thing we do during the festival is a more intensive project, because we think it's important not to see them only as visitors, but also as participants, really, of the festival. So what we do is a 4-week program in a run-up to the festival, where children make their own films, and they get workshops from filmmakers in the classroom. And then they see their films in local theaters, so it premieres there, together with professional films made. So they really feel like it's their own festival. And then they will win one film of every school, and they will take part in the national competition Search by Kids during our festival. So it's really connected to our festival. Then we also have our year-round programs. So we offer different film and media workshops in schools and other educational contexts, film screenings and teacher trainings throughout the Netherlands. And then in addition to that, we also have our online offer, which has, of course, grown last year a lot, last 2 years. So we use a digital platform called Lesson Up, where we offer lessons for age group 4 till 14. And our focus in these lessons is short films, because they are most easily shown in a school context because of their duration. So all the lessons take around 50 minutes and consist of 1 or more short films. And last year we also launched our online platform Cinekid Play, and we are now thinking about how to make this accessible for schools year-round. And next to that, apart from having our own platforms, we also try to bring context to online platforms where teachers already can be found. For example, what you see in the left, Schoola, which is an online tool already used by like 30,000 teachers throughout the country, which now has a series on film lessons from Cinekid. And I think that was the last slide. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, Rianne. Thanks for your presentation. I will quickly give the words and evocate Jerzy Markowitz from Alekino, which is in the big screen. I don't know if, Jerzy, you can hear us. Here you are. Hi, we cannot hear you. Jerzy, we cannot hear you. I don't know if you have your audio settings correctly done.
Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was unmute, but it should work anyway. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Jerzy Markowitz from Alekino Festival, that was already mentioned by Christiana in Poznan, in Poland. And thanks, Jerzy, for connecting. We know your festival is in a very short time this year. So welcome here, and the floor is yours. Okay, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed. I would like first to thank the organizers for inviting me to this seminar. It's a honor. And I would like to mention that the situation is quite unusual for me because as the director of the film festival, usually I'm sitting on the audience, and today I'm on the screen. That I feel like an actor, and I feel quite stage fright. So I hope I will manage it. I will try to share now with you my presentation. Just a second. This is number one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, can you see it, please? I hope so. Oh, just a second. It is not shared, I believe, or it is?
Yes, well, I can see it in my computer, but it's not. Okay.
Now it should be. Now
okay.
It should work.
Here it is. Okay, go on.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for this small technical problems. So, Alekino Festival is a huge film festival organized by Children's Arts Center in Poznań, Poland, a local government cultural institution. And if you don't mind, I would like to give you some information about this institution, about its mission, because it brings a kind of light on our concept, how to arrange, how to organize, how to arrange also the content of the film festival for children. So the mission of Alekino is to inspire creativity for children and youth, promote new valuable artistic phenomena, popularize and support the development of new methods of cultural education of the young generations, and to create artistic and educational events. Two of these events, the most important ones, are Festival Alekino, and on the same level of the organization, Biennial of Art for Children. That's not only the every 2 years festival, but also the 2 years project, which has some aspects in art, but also in science. Coming back to the festival, our motto, that's also for whole Children's Art Center, could be a child as a partner in the conversation about important matters through art, through films. And in this understanding, Alekino performs many educational functions because of the very fact of presenting to the young audience films of high artistic and substantive qualities. Of course, festival, it's not only the films, it's more. But what we are doing at the festival, I mean, all these activities serve to educate the children for the cinema and through the cinema. I will come back to this a little bit later. Film education at the festival takes place on every possible age of the participants. Here on the left, you have you could see the youngest ones participating in our film projects, and on the right, the older ones. The short information about these two people, because they are quite important for Alekino and for Polish film culture. These people are the holders of the world record of number of films watched in whole their life. It's not a joke. They, for whole their lives, they were the couple. They used to watch at least one movie a day, usually 2 or even 3, and they score only the films seen in the cinema. They didn't score the films seen in the internet or on television. And they really played a kind of important role in popularization of children's cinema, because they were also passionate about the children's films. What could be very important is that the films presented at Alekino are usually hardly available on Polish distribution networks, like multiplexes, television channels, or internet platforms. So most of the children have only the chance to see them at the film festivals, including Alekino. I would like to say that we are 100% booth, referring to what Daniel said, because we also believe in all of these qualities that Daniel mentioned. So yeah, we are 100% booth. That maybe means also we are 100% Alekino. What means that thousands of young festival goers are facing a very new cultural experience, and they have the opportunity to develop their their personalities, their skills by watching the films. One of the important projects at Alekino is the very first experience in the cinema. Here we have the screenings for children who are 2 years old and slightly older in specially decorated room. So what you can see, this is not the typical cinema. The kids sit on the cushions. We have the animators that conducts all the screening. Short films are accompanied by dance or singing, sometimes together with the very small children. It's never completely dark in the cinema, and the parents are very close to the kids. So even if you are a little bit afraid of the strange characters on the screen, it's easy just to have a hug with the parent and you have the feeling of staying safe. This is a very important project of ours because this is the very first step to the cinema. And when we are talking about the education for the cinema, it's important that this first experience is very friendly. It's not any kind of violent experience. So this is why we do this project. The festival, as majority of the film festivals, is full of dialogue, and these dialogues, these discussions, has very educative function, I believe, because you can ask for what you don't know from the movie. You can have more about how the film is produced, and you, what's very important for us, can also give your own comments, sometimes standing in front of a really large audience. So this is very important educational experience for the young spectators. As I said, there are two levels, in my opinion, of the education at every film festival. This is education through the film and education for the film. Education through the film, you use all the educative opportunities which film brings, like presenting the different cultures, presenting the wild, rare animals, and so on and so on. This is only the simple example. And education for the film is just preparing the kids to be the good cinema goers, to understand cinema better. So this is very important also. When we are talking about this education through the film, I think it's nice to show the opportunity of aesthetic education that usually goes through the animated films, and social education. This is like bringing the kids the information about their own mates, the kids of the same age living in a variety of cultures. It could be far away from your country, but I also strongly believe that it could be next street that you never went before. So this is a very important part of the education through the film. The next project, this is to make film with the star. The stars are the film directors who are coming for the festival, and they have the opportunity to work for one day with the groups of kids, teenagers, younger teenagers, preparing the short films. This is really the kind of big adventure for them. If they like it, they can attempt the next level of this adventure. This is the great film adventure. All year filmmaking workshops provided by the festival. At the festival, we have the final screening of the films made by the whole year. And this is really, for these young filmmakers, very prestigious and important event. We also educate the adults. So Alekino Industrial Education Pro, this is the platform of the idea and knowledge exchange for educators and the filmmakers. Usually we have two groups. One is of teachers, second is of filmmakers, as they have their own sessions, but they are also the common sessions. I would like to cordially invite you this year. We decided to put this platform on the internet, so it's available, especially this Industry Pro platform for guests from abroad. It's easy to attend it by registering yourself on our website. We have also the education for teenagers by their own activities at the festival. Here you have the young reporters who are doing this, their critics. Nowadays it's not that difficult. Before we've been even printing everyday newspaper. Now it's easier because we can do it on the internet. And you have, of course, the long line of the volunteers This is the education through the participation of the organization of the festival. This is not only the education how to organize the festival, but it's something more, how to work in the group, how to work collective, how to solve the problems that can occur at this, well, for them, untypical event as the film festival. This is also one important project that's not on my presentation, but I would like to refer to it. This is our platform that's called Alekino at the Classroom. This is the platform with the short films and educational materials for the teachers. This platform is available for whole year. Last year and also this year, we decided to open it broader also for the parents, because we had many, it was a long time when the schools were closed, so we wanted the parents to benefit from this program. And well, I believe this is all. I'm a little bit jealous for my colleagues who've been referring to the festivals they just finished, like Cinekid, because our festival will start within 10 days, and we really don't know what start it will be. We are preparing the festival as a hybrid. So we are first week in the screens, second in the theaters, second week online. But the epidemical situation in Poland is everyday worse. So last year, almost 2 weeks before the festival, all the cinemas were closed and we moved fully to the internet. We are prepared for this, but it will be very sad. So please cross your fingers. Thank you very much.
We will definitely cross our fingers also for you. Jerzy, thanks a lot. Double thanks for being here 10 days before the debut of your festival. And we can imagine it's such a complicated moment. And thanks a lot for being with us. Also because your speech was very, very rich of ideas and proposals, starting from the discussion between aesthetic education and social education, and distinction between educating through films and for films, also for putting an accent on lifelong film education, which is something we don't think about usually, but I think it's something strategic which we can build together. And also for the accent of your presentation on children, because I find very innovative and very interesting your approach to film education dedicated to youngest audiences. So thanks a lot for all the ideas. I don't want to steal too much time because we are right on time, and thanks for being so precise to all the speakers. I recommend to the remaining speakers to be as precise as the other people, and I leave the word to Jaroslava Instova, sorry for pronunciation. Italian plus English plus Czech is not very easy to manage, from Zlin Festival, which is one of the most ancient film festivals in Europe for children. So, Jaroslava, the floor is yours.
Buongiorno tutti. Ahoy in Czech. My name is Jaroslava Hinštova, and for 17 years I've been working for Zlin Film Festival, International Film Festival for Children and Youth. As you can see, we are going to hold the 62nd edition in May, if COVID allows, hopefully. Our festival is old in age, but very young in its focus, and we try to stay playful, as you can see in the posters. The festival is very closely connected to its town, not only in its name, so please let me tell you more about the town. Zlin is a modern industrial university town with 74,000 people, 300 kilometers from Prague, 50 from Slovakia, and 200 from Vienna. Zlin is famous for being a center of Baťa shoes empire. Maybe you know this brand also in Switzerland. This family, Baťa family's concept was very progressive, very modern, and it gave Zlin its contemporary face and its glory. In order to increase the sale rates of shoes and other production, they started their film department, and later on they built their own film studios up the hill.
And many great filmmakers started their careers there, and then production continued with animations, live action, documentary, and very special films, educational films. During the war, the organizers decided to have the showcase of Czechoslovakian film production called Film Harvests. Lots of great Czech, at that time, Czech stars came to Zlin. And at the same time, it was kind of resistant against the German occupation, but unfortunately, German authorities allowed to have only 2 editions for 1940 and 1941. But still, it was enough. It was enough to inspire other enthusiasts about festivals in Czechoslovakia. So the festival tradition started actually in Zlin. The first edition of our festival took place in February in 1961, and the first international edition was 4 years later. This year we celebrate 85 years since the film studio was built, and during the history it became a center of film production for children and young people. It's a paradox that during the communism in the 70s and the 80s, there were lots of money going from state to make children's films, unlike after the Velvet Revolution. By the way, we celebrate the fall of communism today, so UPA. Talking about Zlin and Zlin Film Studios, I wanted to give you a picture how tight connection our festival and the city have. As I have said earlier, we are going to hold 62nd edition, and these numbers are from this year. From September, we had to postpone from May to September dates, and also our 60th edition, 2020, happened in the COVID age, but still we were lucky enough to have it physically, unlike other festivals. I think the reasons to organize children's film festivals are the same as with any other, with our befriended festivals, including Castellinaria. I like to use 5 words I borrowed from the British Film Institute. Let's bring children curiosity, empathy, tolerance, aspiration, and enjoyment. Here you can see in which sections we are trying to achieve our goals. This year, for example, we split the youth section into 2 parts, into junior and youth, because we found out that films for 12 plus and 15 plus, they are quite different. So we did this. And every year, for example, we have a limited edition with a big theme. 3 years ago, we had Discover and Explore, showing films about nature, traveling, indigenous people. Later, a year later, we had Back to the Future with films about science, technology, special effects. And the latest theme this year was Literature in Film, where we showed around 40 films based upon famous or less known books. Our festival has a really big supporting program. Our advantage is the May dates that we can have these programs outdoors. As you can see, we have also film workshops. It deals with film education already. And theater, we have everything. We even have some sports activities. We have half marathon, so if you come to our festival, you can run for victory. last 5 years, we have been trying to build up a good industry program for film professionals called Zlin Industry Days. As you can see, one of the program deals with film literacy. I will talk about that later. So let's go to the point why we are here. I like to call our festival One Big School. We actually raise audience for the general festivals. And in Zlin, there is a big tradition, very long tradition, that most people living in the Zlin region once in their lifetime visited Zlin Film Festival screening. So there is a very strong connection between local people and the festival. Schools, groups are our main consumers, our main audience. So we try to cover all the levels of educational systems from kindergarten to university. I think as all other festivals, we face a bit of a problem with secondary schools, but hopefully it will get better with our future concept. A month before the festival, we meet the school's representatives from the Zlin region, and we introduce them our offer according to age, geographic, topic, and other criteria. And later on, of course, we are willing to discuss it individually. So the offer is made, and now the kids come to the cinema. Each film at our festival has an introduction, because we want to distinguish regular screening in the cinema from the festival screening. And for school screenings and for some more films, we use the concept of young moderators, so both parties can relate to each other, they can get a connection. And from them, they are given a basic info about the film. So film is seen, and now the kids are full of impressions, are full of questions, and so they have the unique opportunity to talk to filmmakers. And in best scenario, their horizons are broadened. They want to see more films. They want to talk about films with their schoolmates, with teachers, with parents. They pick up a film as their profession. So this is the best case, and this is what we want to achieve, right? So this is what festival school looks like. A long-term problem, as I said before, is to attract teenagers to the cinema in their leisure time. So we came up with an idea to design a Zlin teen zone with screening of teenage films, with concerts, discussions on burning teenage topics. And everything from the chair via their ambassador to entertainment, we want to be designed in their style. Before that, of course, we want to do some research and ask them what they really desire. The carefully chosen set of teenage films that were screened during last 5 or 6 festivals will be offered also to schools with didactic materials, of course, and hopefully it will work and we can start film education among teenagers. So, and the COVID times made us come up with our own platform, online platform, and we want to continue using it. It would be silly if we won't do that. The idea is to have each quarter a new showcase of films for children and youth, and the overarching topic would be kind of courage and with variations topic. And didactic materials will be made for both parents and teachers. We want to start it on the 1st of January 2022. So this is briefly the festival type of not only film education, and if you ask me about the situation in the Czech Republic, the situation is not very good about film education, but there is still hope in the form of the Association for Film and Audiovisual Education, which organizes every Zlin Film Festival and industry program. It's called Cinema Behind the School. And this year, the topic was the teacher in the lead role, and it reflected the experience of teachers from all around Europe. Yes. This association is a nationwide platform for all the teachers, lecturers, everybody who dreams the film education would be like part of curriculum. And the main problem is lack of teachers of film education, lack of methodology, and lack of didactic materials and textbooks. But there is still hope in small groups of enthusiasts like us to have this film education part of the curriculum. So thank you very much. It was very brief. Thank you very much for attention, and I'm very happy to be back. Actually, it's from 2013. The photo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jaroslava. Very, very interesting, very rich, especially for putting on the table some very crucial topics, like, for example, the relationship between education and consumption, which I think is quite a big topic, and also the idea to recreate a sort of space of reflection. I can imagine a festival as a space of reflection nowadays, more than just a showcase of films, something at a higher level from an educational and socio-cultural point of view. But I give the word to Arba Atashi from Kosovo. The Anibar festival, a very nice and very young festival on animation. And Arba, I give you the microphone also.
Thank you. Hi everyone, thank you. I'm Arba, the festival director of the Anibar International Animation Festival, which is located in the city of Peja in Kosovo. First of all, I would like to tell you more about the city also, which you can see is roughly around 96,000 inhabitants. And I want to tell you more about the beginning of and the foundation of the festival. As the festival first started by a group of 18 years old that wanted to bring the medium of animation in the city and represent the medium of animation, but also likewise provide the cinema and provide film to the local youth that is located in the city of Peja, but in Kosovo in general also. Kosovo in general, it is considered one of the youngest countries in Europe, with this average age of 25 years old. So you can only imagine how many of these inhabitants are young audiences that were much in need of a festival, but also of cinema in general. The Anibar organization is committed in breaking the civic apathy through cultural activism, and we have many programs which include work in culture in general, but also technology and new technology. We have focuses on animation production that we have. We have a program for Culture for Change, which include the festival, but also managing the only cinema in the city of Peja, which is Cinema Yusuf Garvala. But also arts in education and education through arts, which is one of the most important topics that we also invest our time yearly, but also through the festival. The Anibar organization, like a snapshot of throughout the years, it started in 2010, and it was only the festival happened during that time. So throughout the years, we saw the importance of turning ourselves from an organization that only organizes the festival into a functioning all year round organization that provides for the community. So in 2004, we started managing the only cinema in the city of Peja, which I mentioned, Yusuf Garvala, and worked throughout it to have a lease with the municipality on managing for the next 15 years. This created the means necessary for us to transform our two main goals that the festival was organized, which were to also educate the audiences through the films of the festival, but also provide educational activities in the festival itself into a yearly program which turned out to be Arts in Education and Education through Arts. The festival itself, it had its 12th edition, so we are relatively very new compared to the other festivals here, but big in impact for a very small country, which is Kosovo. So we had our 12th edition of the festival this summer, which was spread out in 5 cinemas. 3 of them are improvised and built only for the festival in outdoor spaces, and 2 of them indoor. We in total do around like 75 activities throughout 7 days of the festival. And these activities include also workshops, professional masterclasses. More than 300 films are screened throughout these cinemas. We also try to engage more also the audiences through doing other activities such as like music concerts, public performances, and panels such as this where important topics are discussed. The festival itself engages a lot of youth, but also a lot of people that organize the festival, which in total, like it's more than 100 people that work for the festival during its summer. One of the things that we noticed during the festival is that as we gather a lot of people, like 100 people working for the festival, but also a lot of audiences, we saw the importance that the festival should serve also in more than only to screen the latest animations and also the latest productions of it. So we started organizing the festival around one specific theme that had a specific social, political, or cultural issue, and through it we wanted to discuss it together with the audiences, but also together with other people engaged. So we can see here throughout 2010 until 2011, we treated a lot of subjects, such as gender equality, also the relation to the human, which happened last year in the online edition, isolation, climate change, and different topics that are very important and need to be discussed also with the young audiences and help them get educated towards that. So here are some non-playable videos, but like throughout each edition of the festival, we also do one specific trailer that promotes these kind of topics to the young audiences further through the visual and audiovisual materials. So here are. This is like the cinema Yusuf Garvala, which I mentioned, and our program Education through Arts and Education in Arts expanded here. In the former Education in Arms, we have founded 2 animation academies located in Peja and in Pristina, which are 6-month programs that aim for the education of the young generations on how to create animation, short animations. This is very important for us, specifically as in Kosovo, there is no institution that provides education in the field of animation, so it's like the only place where they can learn how to create animation and create the new professionals of the industry of animation, but as well as education through arts or through animation specifically. We have 2 specific programs that we implement throughout the year. One is we go to the schools of the city of Peja and region and screen animations that have one specific topic and do discussions with the students. This is implemented from first graders until high schoolers, so it falls under like 6 until 18 years old that we work with children and kids, but also teenagers. But also we bring them inside of the cinema where they get to experience the cinema, they get to experience film, seeing in a big screen, but also, as the same, use the film for education on one specific topic and do discussions with them. Some more videos. The Anibar Animation Academy, as I mentioned, is the only program that, is the only program that provides the means necessary for the young generations learning how to do animation, but also learn how to use that animation for further purposes. So the productions that are done inside of the Anibar Animation Academy are now being screened and implemented into the school program that we do when going to school. So like the older generations are providing the materials necessary for this program, but also they are learning how to create the animations and how to use like the new technologies such as augmented reality, virtual reality, but also 360 videos and photos to be integrated into their everyday life, but also in other materials. One of the main reasons of the program in arts and education through arts is that together with other organizations that work in Kosovo and that deal with film specifically, we want to advocate towards the integration of film and animation specifically in the curriculum of schools, and aim for the use of as much as audiovisual materials when it comes to teaching, but also when it comes to the usage of explaining and discussing specific topics in this. As many of us have experienced, like also the COVID-19 situation, and like last year when it comes to the festival, but also the work that we do with animation academies, both of them have converted online last year and hybrid in this format, which in our case has helped us reach a lot more, not only in the city of Pea region, but also go to the rural areas and have access to also that kind of audience, and provide the education activities that we have also to those audiences. Engagements beyond animation and film that we do, we try a lot also to focus and spread also the medium of animation, as we are very keen firm believers that animation is one of the best mediums to be used at young ages also for education. We try a lot to work with other organizations that are in the city of Pea through the network of cultural organizations, and provide all the materials that we have as a festival to them to use the film and to use the medium of animation, but also working on topics such as human rights and the implementation of them in schools through the usage of film, engage as much as the young audiences in animation production and teach them the basics of how they can create their own animation, and outreach projects which are more focused also on the rural areas, but also the region of Pea, but also of Kosovo in general. So if you want to know more about what we do as a festival and as an organization, we have some of the links here that you can find. And also, this is it. So thank you very much. And I am sure that we will discuss more in details also on the next half of the panel. Thank you.
Thanks, Arba, especially for being so quick. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you very much. Now it's the hardest part for me because I have to moderate myself. Because I also would like to say a few words about our festival. Because in Cineteca, Milano, we also run a festival which is Piccolo Grande Cinema Festival, which runs since 2004. And I just want to say very few words. If Cristiana, if I have time, I don't know if we have time to. It's okay. In the meantime, I just want to underline some aspects of Arba's speech, because one of the key aspects I think that has arisen also from the other speech of all the people that is here is the cooperation on the territory, which is very important. A festival has an impact on its territory, and it's important to understand how to improve it, how to keep it strong. And all the festivals that I've seen, also small festivals, which are not the ones that are sitting at the table, work as good as they can, as they have relationship with the territory. Cristiana.
May I suggest perhaps to have the break, and we can have your presentation after the break, so you're not stressed by the time. We have plenty of time after the break to see the Cineteca presentation and to open the discussion.
Perfect. Okay. So see you at 3:15, 3:15. Ci vediamo alle 3:15. On se rencontre à 3:15 minutes. I cannot say in German, sorry. See you then. Okay, can we start again? Okay, thanks for staying with us. Now, after such a wide amount of suggestions and inspiring statements, it will be a pleasure for me, and also the hardest part of this day for me, to put everything together, trying to face some key issues about the relationship between cultural mediations, festivals, film education, towards art house films and quality products, on the background of the complicated moment we are running through. And so we will try to get across all the topics of the discussion. Perhaps you already had a chance to take a look at the program of the conference, and you have seen that there are around 4 main points that we would like to focus on into this discussion about the relationship between festivals and schools, the role of the festivals towards the promotion of film education, film literacy, teacher training, and how teachers can promote film education in schools, on the background of the complicated situation of the pandemic we are facing that has fostered not only critical situations, of course, the overall context is a sort of global tragedy, but from some points of view, it has offered also some new resources and some food for thoughts to renovate the structure of the cultural proposal of each festival we are running in. I would like to make a very brief presentation, as we have announced at the very end of the first part of the conference, about Piccolo Grande Cinema. Piccolo Grande Cinema Cineteca Milano Festival is the festival we run in Cineteca since 2008. Where's the... Oh, okay, here it is. I would like to very briefly introduce the... Thanks. To very briefly introduce the festival's activities. Sorry, can you? Thanks. I don't want to give a full overview of the festival, and I don't want to say too much things, because I think we have said too many things about festivals, and some of the things that I would say are more or less the same that you have already heard. I just would like to focus on one aspect, especially one project that we have run. Let's try again with the microphone. On a special project that we have run this year for the first time, because after those year and a half in which there was a very complicated relationship with young audiences, our theaters, Cineteca manages 3 film theaters, our theaters have been closed for more than 1 year, and it's getting more and more complicated to get in touch with schools and with young audiences. We have had online activities, but we felt the need to hear at the young people in the country and try to understand from them what are the priorities for relaunching and for the rebirth of cinema for the future. So we have organized a special project whose name is Cinema Sarà. Is a year-long activity that we have started in winter, in February of this year. We have organized some online sessions with 45 classes in 4 regions in Italy, from Lombardia, Piemonte, Lazio, and Sicilia. We have made these online meetings with those classes and teachers. We have agreed with them to discuss on 5 main topics, which were the space of cinema, so the relationship of young audience with the cinema as a place and how it will be developed in the future, the relationship of film and education and young audiences with new territories, for example, with new technologies and digital technologies and immersive technologies, and how they can support the future of cinema. One table was about jobs and cinema in school, so what the students expect to have in their educational ordinary activities about cinema. So we had 5 different tables on these topics. One table was about the stories, which stories the young citizens in Italy want to hear, want to watch at the cinema. Then all these 90 students, there were 2 delegates from each class that was involved. They all gathered in Milan during our festival in the 4th and 5th of November. Our festival has just finished about 10 days ago. And this is the reason why my colleague Silvia is not here, because she's ill now, because she was too tired after the festival. After each edition of the festival, all of us get ill in bed for 1 week. I hope it will not happen to my colleagues here and to Cristiana also, because life has to go on. However, she's ill at the bed at this moment, and I want to say hello by my colleague Silvia to all of us, and also on behalf of Matteo Pavesi, who is the general director of Cineteca di Milano. Anyway, we gathered together in those 5 tables in a couple of days in Cinema Oberdan in Milan, that now has changed the name and is Meet. The name of the venue is Spazio Meet. We had discussions for 2 days, and then on Saturday the 6th, the decalogue of this sort of manifesto of proposals for the future of cinema has been submitted to Alberto Barbera, who is the director of Venice Film Festival, and he was there in Spazio Meet about 10 days ago, and he received our manifesto, and now we'll see how this advocacy initiative will flow in the future. I don't want to tell any more about our festival, because it's a festival that also has to do with ICT. We have developed some programs about gaming, video games, about cinema. We also have created a video game about Luca Comerio, who is a pioneer, an Italian pioneer in cinema, who has been working during the First World War, and we created a video game about Luca Comerio's cinema that deals also with archive and heritage, because we are a Cinematech, and our main mission is about the promotion of film heritage and archive films. But the rest of the things are more or less are very similar to what they do. Also, our festival is a very young festival. It runs only since 2008, so I really don't want to add anything more to that, and I want to start the discussion with you, because I took notes of some points, and one common point of the discussion I would like to start from is related to a general issue that has to do with our ordinary activity, because we are, apart from the pandemic, apart from the COVID situation we are into since 1.5 years, also before this, we have a very complex situation and very complex and open question about the relationship with the younger audiences with film as a medium, because we all live in a completely changing and quickly changing technological and communicative ecosystem and environment. The way young people enjoy audiovisual content is changing every day. Is a very complicated thing to understand and to describe and to watch. Okay, so it's not easy to understand what happens between younger audiences and the audiovisual media, but media in general. So this is more a matter of media literacy than film literacy, but I think in the case of cinema and the festival activities, they are very connected points, because the way young audiences deal with audiovisual content also influence the way young audiences watch films. Films are objects that have a duration which is quite long. You cannot change it, you cannot stop it if you watch it in a film theater, So it's something that is getting far and far from the way now we are accustomed to interact with audiovisual, especially thinking that the majority of the consumption in the last year and a half has been done from home, domestic enjoyment of audiovisual content that has completely changed, that's accelerating some changes in the perception of younger people. I think not only in all the countries, that I think it's a worldwide phenomenon. So my first question is, I would like to ask, maybe we can start from Jerzy, if you are listening to us, because I know you have to quit the meeting a little before the scheduled end of our conference. So maybe we can start from you. Jerzy, if you are online, can you give us a sign? Okay, he will join the discussion. We can start from our speakers here. Oh, Jerzy, here you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm still present. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, very well. Thanks a lot. I would like to start from you because I know that you have to leave soon. So we still have some time before you leave, but maybe we can start from you for this reason. So my first issue is I think we can start reflecting upon this topic. According to your opinion, how the consumption model of audiovisual content among younger audiences, citizens, people has undergone relevant changes, and how how do you think festivals can face this challenge and try to engage younger audiences in enjoying audiovisual content in this complex and heterogeneous media ecosystem?
Thank you very much for this question. Well, I do believe I'm in general, I'm optimistic from the point of view of the director of the festival. I hardly remember the time when the television started, but they said then that the television will kill the cinemas. It didn't happen. Then they told us that maybe video cassettes will kill the cinema. I believe it would not happen also with the internet. However, definitely these habits of watching the video products, especially among the young people, are changing very fast. And I think we, as in a way, exhibitors of traditional films, I mean, in terms of film, which you define that this is the object which has its own duration. It's not interactive in general. You have just to sit down and watch. So we exhibit in general such films, and also we exhibit them in quite a traditional way. I mean, in the theaters, not via internet. However, now in the times of COVID, partly we had to move to the internet. And still, for me, the picture, the film is the most important factor. So I believe that the screens in the theater will be continued. Now I know that some of the specialists are telling us that maybe the cinemas have to invent something more than only screening. It is invented in the multiplexes with popcorn, I believe. As far as I know, popcorn, the income from popcorn is higher than the income from tickets. That's meaningful, I believe, but still maybe you need more. It should be a kind of festivity where going with your family to the theater, but we do it at the festivals. Actually, the festival is not just the screening. It's more, our colleague from Zlin told us that every screening is especially has a special beginning with the person who invites the audience. It's unusual situation. There are more of such the unusual situations. Of course, the opportunity to meet the filmmakers is totally unusual. So we should, I believe, put the accent at the festivals on what's unusual. And of course, we have to keep the highest quality of the films presented. And in this regards, okay, we have to know what are the changes, what's changing in these habits, but I believe young people can easily combine all of these opportunities. So playing the video games, watching the films on Netflix, let's say, and coming to the festival, because each of this opportunity brings some different values. Of course, in my opinion, watching the movie at the festival and the cinema is the most valuable one, but I'm, well, the older guy. For the young kids, it could be different, but still we had, well, at least we had them. I don't know how it would work this year, but this year is very special with the pandemic everywhere. So anyway, I'm not afraid. I'm optimistic. I think we have to struggle for our audiences. We had to know what kind of habits of watching they prefer, but we have to go on our way. I don't think I will change the festival and the festival of video games or Facebook interactive talks. No, this is the film festival. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jerzy, because I think you're right. I don't know if all the rest of the speakers at the table are so optimistic or what they want to say about this, but I like the expression to struggle for the audience, because it can sound like a conquer, or it can just sound like a mission. So I think this is a good image that we can keep from this conference, to struggle for the audience. I would like to ask the rest of the speakers, but I don't want to ask anyone in particular about the same question, and if you are as optimistic as Jerzy, or if you are not, or in which way. I don't know who wants to take the word. Okay.
Because, hello, can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay. Because I agree with what you say, and I remember at our festival a few weeks ago, during one of the school screenings, after the screening, the moderator asked the children, "Did you like it?" And then there was one boy who raised their hand. He said, "I liked it a lot." And then, "Why did you like it?" "It was the first time in my life that I went to a cinema." And this boy was around like 13 years old. So that's why I think it's so important for us as festivals to keep organizing this situation and to have this impact on a child, which is a really different impact than when you see a film from home or from the classroom. And what he also said, like to meet the artists around the film, so the Foley artists, the directors, the impact is totally different. So I really see that as an important role we have as festivals to let them experience that part around the film, and not only the film itself. And therefore the place is also really important, I think, so the cinemas in general.
I totally agree with what both of them said in regards to our responsibilities as a festival to also represent the cinema and grow the new generations of cinema lovers that would appreciate seeing the films in a big screen. But what we have found it very useful is not only to introduce them to the cinema and also to the big screen and all of the emotions that are transmitted through seeing a film in comparison to an electronic device, is also the availability that the festivals provide on follow-up activities from that screening. So we saw examples of each of the festivals doing discussions also with the students. So you don't get the students and also the children don't have that opportunity if they see the same film in Netflix or in any electronic device. They don't get to meet the filmmaker and ask specific questions that there, or like keen points that they notice during the film. So I think each of these screenings and each of these initiatives in creating these new cinema lover generations is also our responsibility also to provide them something beyond also the screening. So I think this is also a new way that we can engage more also young audiences.
Yes, I think cinema culture is something that we all think is very important, and as a festival programmer, I like to see, putting together a program, it's like taking the best ingredients for you can compare it maybe to making, being a chef and making the perfect dish, that you find the best olive oil from Greece and the best mozzarella from Italy, and then you just don't, you don't just put them on a table for everyone to get it. You will also like put them together the best possible way, and we have this special places called movie theaters where I mean it's the best film experience you can get there. So I think that is important, but it's also important to stay relevant for the young audience in all different ways. So I think it's not only, we cannot be conservative and only think that we are going to present films in a movie theater like we have been doing for many years. We also have to think about how we can reach this new audience that have the moving images around them everywhere, also in their pockets from when they are maybe 8 years old.
We've been bringing kids to the cinema for 61 years. So, and I think if we fail, we can easily die. That there is no reason to hold a festival like this. So this is a very traditional way, I know. But I just want to tell you that when I select films, I usually I watch them on my laptop. And then the short list of films we watch on the big screen. And it's a totally different experience. And this is what we want to offer kids, not just see it on their TV screens, but in the cinema with a whole range of new emotions, from great quality of music with the big screen. So I think this is very, very important.
Yeah, I think a key word in what you said is experience, okay? Because we're dealing with okay, maybe we're accustomed, well, I'm 40 years old, so I'm still accustomed from something that maybe is a little old-fashioned, but experience of cinema for me is the experience of cinema itself. You sit down and it gets dark and something starts, then you stay sitting for 2 hours and then you get out and think about a film, okay? That's basically our idea of experience. But maybe now this topic has a little changed. You were talking about this model of experience, but I think now we have to adapt. I think, I don't know if you also meant something about this, but today experience, we have to understand how we can create that kind of experience. It's not a matter of going to the cinema, because now if we want to meet the habits of these youngest generations, and not only youngest generations, because we watch films on VOD platforms, so it's a widespread problem. It's a widespread consideration to be done apart from the age. So my question, and I think it's not, I hope it's not too complicated, it's how to create an experience. Maybe you got an answer, you gave an answer by building like collateral activities, but I really would like you, yeah, I really would like to ask you to ask yourself what is an experience, an updated concept of experience of watching a film, and how a festival can work to recreate it. I think from your presentation an answer can arise, but I would like to point on this and ask you a reflection on that. Who wants to start? Maybe Jerzy, you want to start? We cannot hear you.
Unmute, so you should hear me.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think partly I replied your question before, as I believe that the festivals, with all of their activities, with every detail of how we welcome the kids in the cinema, this is making the experience for them. And of course, there are various fields of this experience, I believe. So this is just from what we've been talking about, watching together, having the opportunity to talk to filmmakers. I will underline again, this is talking together also. So this is not that you are just chat one-to-one, but this is talking together. Just a second, I will take it off. Yeah, this was my mobile. So I believe that this experience could be created in many ways, and you have to find the proper way to join your to find the proper way to join your auditorium. So this is what we are doing, and of course, well, referring to what Daniel, I believe, said. Sorry, I cannot see you, so I'm not sure if I know who was speaking about this. But Daniel, you said, I believe, that we shouldn't be conservative. Definitely, yes. We shouldn't be conservative. We should follow the changes in the all behaviors of young people, because the kids now are totally different from the kids, not of when I was the kid, but 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So we have to investigate this, and we have to look for the proper way to give them the experience they can accept. But also we have to keep it in a way balanced, because I believe we shouldn't be too easy only to give them what they want. We are also bringing them up. So when you think about bringing up, I believe you need someone who brings up and someone who is to be brought up. So in this regards, this is kind of, how to say, delicate balance we should keep between being progressive, but also being conservative. By the way, just to one remark to what we said before, I have got yesterday the numbers from the owner of the biggest network of Polish cinemas. And what they found out, that after the lockdown of the cinemas, the number of the spectators in the first months of open cinemas was bigger than the same months before the epidemic. So it means that people want to go to the cinema. Of course, I don't have the numbers, how many of the young or very young people among them, but I believe the majority. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because you're talking about how we can guess what the new relationship with the audiences with cinema is. For example, in Italy, the situation of the audience was quite blocked before the pandemic. There was no significant growth. It was always the same number of audiences, with a block of spectators which are very addicted, very enthusiastic, and always go to the cinema, while lots of people don't go to the cinema. There was a calculation of a report of some years ago that 1 up to 2 citizens in Italy go to the cinema. It means that 1 up to 2 citizens don't go to the cinema. So that's a meaningful question, and maybe we can leave it for the rest of the debate, how you can guess a new model of cinema going will be developed after the lockdown we had for a long time. But I want to give the word to the rest of the parterre, because Gerdy spoke about giving an experience that people can accept. That is an interesting interpretation of what you're talking about. Anyone wants to say something on that? Maybe Daniel.
I think Jerzy said everything I wanted to say, but I was thinking about that we have this quite unique situation, because we have a lot of children and young people coming with their schools to our festivals, and a lot of them are coming for the first time, maybe to the cinema. So, and this is something really good, that they are forced by their teachers to go to see something, okay, maybe very strange, very different from what they normally see. But this is an opportunity that we should try to use more, maybe. How can we, when we have them at the cinema, what can we do to make them feel that this is a place I want to continue visiting, in my free time, with my parents, with my friends. And I think it has a lot to do about creating a friendly environment in all possible ways. Good introductions, a nice atmosphere. Yeah, I think that is something that we can think about, and it's important to develop that to keep them when we have them forced to be in the cinema, maybe for the first time.
Can I add?
Yes, of course. I don't know, maybe if it's okay for you, we can close the tour about this topic, and then you can ask your questions, or we can, yeah, let's close the tour. Maybe some other things arise, and then you can make your question.
Thank you. Yeah, what I also think is important in creating the experience for the students is to see them not only as visitors of our festivals, but also as like participants of our festivals. So, for example, the project we do throughout the Netherlands, where they make their own films in a run-up to the festival. And then when they come to the festival, they see this whole program, which consists of the films they have made, which are short 1-minute films, but also animations from our Cinekid program, a documentary. They see the full package of different genres. And I think then they have the option to really feel like part of the festival, and to feel like this is something we can also do and we can also be part of, and it doesn't feel like something too far away for them. So I think it's really important to make them feel participants of the film world, and not only as visitors of film screenings. So that's what I want to add.
Definitely a very important point. There is another question. If it's okay for you, we close there's this man before. Oh, Jerzy, you're leaving. Oh, sorry, just a quick break.
Yeah. I would like to add something. There are some concepts of involving the children to curate the festival program. That seems for me very interesting. And at Alekino, we believe maybe next year we'll start. It was very difficult to do it during the pandemic, but the idea to make the audience not only the spectators, but also the active participants, including the kind of opportunity to collaborate with young people to create the festival program seems to me very interesting, and maybe this is one of the important projects for us for the future. Yeah, I have to beg your pardon, but now I need to go. I'm really sorry, it was urgent, and I didn't expect that I will be in this situation, but I have to go to other place. So thank you very much, and hope to see you as soon as possible.
Thanks, Jerzy. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone was starting to speak?
What Jerzy said, I now realize that it's true that these young people, children, they helped to create the program, because I've been selecting films for our festival for 17 years. And every year I learned to know our audience. I knew what they like, what they didn't like. So when somebody said, "Oh, I saw a nice Indian movie," and I said, "I didn't select it because I know my audience." So unconsciously, they are part of our program team, actually. So they are partners.
Yeah, and maybe just to add, I think that it's, I agree with everyone what they said, and I think this is like one of the new format of the experience that they participate, starting from like the personal experience of going to the cinema and seeing a film inside of a big screen and everything, but also what Rian said, also engaging them in a way that they are participatory in that process, in an interactive way where they can give something also more than just be observers of that scene. That will is creating the new experience of the cinema and is making the audience more active audiences in participating in further screenings and in further films, but also having one sense that they are also giving something to giving back something to that process.
Yeah, I think this is a crucial point because from my experience, my point of view, I think Daniel was asking how if students, children, young audience that are forced to go to the cinema by the school rules, do they go back? Do they come back to the cinema? Do they come back, and what kind of product they're going to look for? Are they looking? They go to the cinema, perhaps. Do they watch the film we want them to watch? Does this reasoning work? I don't know if it works, but I think the answer is right, is in the air, because co-programming and participatory programming seems to be something that can support fostering engagement. That is really one of the possible keys for that. Maybe we can ask, maybe we can listen to the questions from the audience, and then maybe if you want, you can reflect upon this again, if you have something to say, or we can go to another topic. But in the meanwhile, we have a couple of questions, the man here, and then there's a girl.
Yes, thank you very much for this interesting discussion. But my question, I'm the CEO of the Palazzo del Cinema in Locarno, which is housing the Locarno Film Festival organization, as well as 3 movie theaters, as well as Ticino Film Commission, and a film school, which is CISA, Conservatorio Internazionale Scienze Audiovisive. All in all, to tell you, I'm very close to these topics of how to preserve cinemas, because actually one of the main challenges of a film festival today is to have the opportunity to still have theaters in order to show your movies, because actually, economically speaking, we can see a real trend of concentration of forces, of investments in huge spectacular venues, but everything which has to do with a specific curation of content is going to be neglected by these huge groups. So I think it's one of the challenges and a task of the festivals in the future to become a kind of, not only a preservation, but a kind of organization of platform offering some enrichment in the content. So not just, as you were mentioning before, a movie and a sitting place, but also having the possibility to engage in a discussion, meeting somebody working on this movie, or trying to have more experiences, visual experiences with backstage projection and all these things. And everything I'm just mentioning, quite random, is belonging to a fact that it's content you're never going to reach on your individual platform, which can be your smartphone or your iPad or anything, whatever. So, all in all, I think it's one of the future goals of any film festival is going to be kind of one side preservation of this collective experience of sharing emotions, sharing a vision of a film, and on the other hand, trying to enrich this experience and keeping this activity all along the year, because otherwise you're losing your theaters. And this is exactly what's happening with the film festival in Locarno. They are really concerned about some venues which are going to disappear because there is no more economic interest of keeping cinemas in a small town like Locarno, like the small towns you're performing your own festivals. So I think, by the way, you mentioned something about cinema, a theater which had to be recapped, and this is why my question. Thank you.
I have to agree totally with what you said. In our case, specifically in the city of Pea, in 2017, there was a campaign again, about the privatization of the only cinema in the city of Pea. And we, as Anibar, managed to gather 10,000 signatures petition and did a campaign of 6 months to preserve the cinema and its independency and its artistic vision when it comes to the screenings that we have inside of the cinema. So I think, especially for the small cities, but also for the big cities, like it is crucial to also preserve this kind of cinema and this kind of fostering of these kind of films and these kind of interactive ways to engage the community and the audiences. So it is something that each of the festivals have to have in mind also, because it's like, it's not that it's happening only in the small cities, but it's something that I'm afraid it will happen in the near future in all of the places.
One additional question, sorry. What's your programming for this cinema, except the period of your festival? Who is taking care of it?
During the festival or year round? After the festival. So we did a campaign in 2017, which led us to sign a memorandum of understanding with the municipality of Pea on managing the cinema for the next 15 years. So we are managing it until 2032. And because they trusted us. This is like the best political situation that can happen in this case. I mean, it's an uncommon situation in other cities, but which we still face many problems because we lack a lot of resources when it comes to equipment, but we do yearly programs and monthly programs which include films but also include other activities such as you mentioned, like getting a behind the scenes of how movies are created, how animation is created, technical support of like providing for new generations how to project, how to deal with sound. We have a sound studio now inside of the cinema, so it's like it is a cinema, but also it is serving as a multifunctional center to facilitate all of the processes that involve inside of one film.
Does anyone else want to add something to what our guest just asked, or maybe we can give the word to the other guests that want to speak? Do you want to add anything to this? Okay. Next question.
Yeah, thank you. Hello. I just wanted to get back to the participatory character of the festivals you were mentioning. I was very interested in what you told, Rian, about that you, after the screenings, do not do only conventional Q&A, but also like let the kids participate. So I would be very interested in knowing how, like what are you doing exactly? And I think Jaroslava told that you also have kids moderating. So perhaps you can say 2 words about that, because we also had the idea. We have a very nice moderator at our festival who's who's been working for 20 years with children, and you proposed that. So we are not very sure if it works out or how much preparation does it need. Like, do they have to be prepared for months or weeks, or is it just before the festival? Like, how do you do that? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get the first kids there, the Q&A thing. Sorry, I couldn't hear it. For you, okay.
Question and then you get to say. Yeah, our audience group is between 4 and 14 years old, so we think like a traditional Q&A is not really suitable for that age. So we try to find more playful ways to let them join in what they see. And for example, this year we worked with a Foley artist. So after the screening, they started to make live Foley sounds with the film they just saw, with certain scenes. So there's a Foley artist who explains about his job, and then they have all the materials there, and then he asks children to the stage to join him actively in making the sounds. Another thing we had this year was a costume developer from the film. So he brought all the different dresses and suits he used, and the children could also come to the stage and try them on and experience how it is to make a character and use those costumes. So we always try to find like an active way to teach them about film and how it's made, and not just tell them about it. So we think that's really important. Playful way. Yeah, it depends on the length of the film, and that's also a difficult thing when you see like a feature film, 1.5 hour. I think the maximum time to spend in a venue is like 2 hours, so then it can be like maximum 30 minutes. But we also show a lot of compilation programs of short films, so then that part is like 45 minutes, and we have another 45 minutes for the interactive program. So it depends on what kind of film they saw.
As for the young moderators, it was, I admit, it was not an original idea. My colleague, artistic director Marketa, she brought it from Lucas Film Festival when she was in the jury. And this concept is it's been going on for, let's say, 6 years. And we, because during summer, we organize festival camps. So we gathered our best children and asked them if they want to try it, because it's quite challenging. Not everybody can do that, right? And even more when they are very small. But they are heroes for us, and sometimes it brings very funny moments, because Samuel, who is the youngest, now they are all older, okay? He comes to me, oh, my class is coming to a screening, I will be terrified. No. He just made fun of him, and it was very nice. And it's very nice to see when the class can see their schoolmates. And actually, it's not embarrassing. They're again heroes for them, because it's really, it's not easy to stand up in front of big audience, right? And as for the preparations, we don't want them to tell the kids like one paragraph long synopsis. We want to interact with the audience. So, hello, welcome to the screening of the Zlin Film Festival. You're going to see a very nice film from Sweden. So, can you tell us what you know about Sweden? But this is maybe for the smaller children. Then for the second grade of the basic school, you have to tell something more. But the interaction is the most important. But I don't think the preparation is not so difficult. So we started with 4 kids. And then everybody wanted to be a moderator, but they found out it's not easy. And now we have 4 kids, 5 kids, standard number of moderators.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But doing the not just telling a paragraph, but interacting is the real difficult part. So is it just in the summer camp that they are prepared, like 1 week or something, or how long are they prepared?
No, they prepare before the festival.
Okay.
Yeah, because we already know that they are very good in performance, so we trust them. So it's then up to them how to perform the introduction. And I go and watch them. I can tell some comments. They can improve their performance, but they have freedom of their natural performance of kids and youngsters.
And they also do the Q&As after the film with the guests?
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Wow.
Before that, I was a bit skeptical if they can do that, but I tried once, 1 year, and now they are, of course, it takes more preparations, but they know that there will be delegation, and sometimes they see the film. They're going to moderate, and they can ask their own questions instead. Because sometimes the class and the kids are shy to ask, so they started the conversation, and they ask very interesting questions in the name of the kids.
Well, yeah, I think it's a very rich topic to debate, because we are really looking for strategies, to rebuild a relationship that has broken some way. So I think it's very important. Anyway, is there any other question from the audience? If not, I have another question for my colleagues here, because I was taking inspiration from all the questions that have issued also from our guest here in the third row, because I think a crucial aspect of cultural mediation, film education, and the role of festival is also the dialogue with the rest of the value chain. Recently, the new Creative Europe program has been launched, the new Creative Europe program that goes from 2021 to 2027. And one of the key lines of this program concerning some calls, especially related to promotional activities, is the dialogue with the value chain, because it's a key aspect, because we are accustomed to see at promotional activities as something apart from the production, from distribution, from exhibition, but it's really a key topic, because for some reasons, because it assures that film education as an acknowledgement, and a recognition towards the rest of the workers in the film sector and audiovisual sector, and also because dealing with audiences, it can mean, film education means to educate audiences, but they're not just audiences, they're also consumers. So it's not an easy question to face, because we're talking about something that has to do with the same target, that is at the same time a citizen, someone who is on its way, her way, his way to education, and someone who deals with a commercial market. So it's not an easy target to handle, and it gives us a responsibility towards it. And also because it deals with also other aspects related to impact of the activity, because I've seen that in the places in which festival has stronger connection with local authorities, local cinemas, and local stakeholders, the festival has a better sustainability perspective. So I would like to ask you to ask yourselves how a festival, your festival, but the festival in general, can empower the relationship with the value chain. I've seen today a very good example from Cinekid about creating a dialogue between developing projects for films and young audiences. But I really would like to invite you to reflect upon this, and how festivals can empower the relationship, the value chain, and how the relationship with the value chain can empower the festival.
I can say something maybe about this, the importance of supporting young filmmakers. We have seen for many years that we have a lot of short films produced in Sweden for a young audience. But then something is happening. We don't see that many feature films for children and young people. We don't have any film education especially focused on that target group. So I think we as a film festival, we have an important mission to focus on these talented young filmmakers that are making content for a young audience, so they get this feeling that this is important, this is something I will continue with. We have to try in all different ways to make the status of children's film higher, so they don't move on to making crime series or thrillers or mainstream films. So for me, that is one thing important. How can we put the light on these talented young filmmakers making short films for a young audience and try to make them continue in a good way, making films for the young target group?
When I talk about the festival, it's something that I always say in regards to our festival specifically and in regards to the medium of animation in Kosovo in general. So in each of the countries where an animation festival is happening, you first have the school where students can go learn how to do animations. Then the school is professionalized and they start producing animations, and a lot of animations are produced. And then you start a festival in order to provide them the opportunity to be screened inside a festival and all the benefits that a festival has. In our case, it was completely the opposite. So we started the festival with no production, zero production of any animations in Kosovo. Then we opened a school, which is a non-formal education program. It's not formal, so it's not institutionalized, but has now graduated more than 60 students of the animation academies that it has. So it has provided them the ability to learn how to do animation, basic animation, where out of those students, 60% of them have gone abroad to study animation, like as a bachelor's degree, and 40% of them have started to do their own animations. Now, this last edition of the festival, we had productions from Kosovo, like 5 productions from Kosovo that are now traveling to other festivals around the world. So I think that it's, what I feel mostly is that it's not that it is our responsibility as a festival to contribute towards this, but it's also the circumstances into which each one of us operate in their own country, but also in their local aspects. And it falls under our responsibility as festivals to provide these opportunities for everyone, and to make them available there in order to invest in the future generations that are going to contribute to the bigger question, to the bigger topic in this case. So.
I think for us as Cinekid, we also really try to be the connection between the children's film industry and the target group. So, for example, during our festival, we organize Director's Lab, Script Lab, in which one part is that the children themselves can give their opinions about the scripts that have been written or the topics about the films. And also throughout the year, we organize test screenings for producers where we show the film to the children when it's not finished yet, so they're in a first edit phase of the film, so they really use the opinions of the children also in making the films. And I think I see that as a task as well as us as a film festival to really be the connection between the children and the industry.
Well, thanks. Well, it arises to me, brings to me to another crucial topic that is quite general, but I think it's a good setting to discuss, because we all come from different countries with different institutional situations. You just told that there's no public support in Kosovo to animation production or to training for professional and tertiary training for filmmakers. And you were mentioning in the very beginning that there are people in Netherlands, like in Italy, that are 13 years old, have never gone to the cinema or have never seen very important national heritage films. I've met lots of people of 17, 18 years old in Italy that have never seen Paesà or Roma Città Aperta, which is quite incredible because it's part of a common, let's say, moving image literature, as it was written in document that was released in 2003 in Thessaloniki, which is one of the very first acts at the European level about film literacy. So my question is about how we can engage in or what, according to your opinion, the public and national authorities should do in order to acknowledge film education in the school curriculum or as a non-formal educational activity. And I know it's quite a complex matter because in Europe there have been some steps that have been done forward towards the recognition of film education as a part of an overall strategy concerning film and concerning education. but I think I guess you have all different situations in your countries, so I really would like to understand what's your advice at a national level or not only, in order to recognize film education as a part of an educational system or a cultural system that promotes the creation and the widespread circulation of films.
Yeah, so in our case specifically, we are like the Kosovo population is 1.7 million. And so it's a very small country. But in our case specifically right now, the Ministry of Culture has put film as a national treasure. This is due to the case that the festivals, such as ours, but also DocuFest, which is the international documentary festival which happens in Prizren, but also we are in total 3 festivals that we have contributed towards the education of these generations, the new generations. And Kosovo right now is producing a lot of films that are traveling to festivals. We have had a premiere during summer at Locarno Film Festival also. So it's we have currently a film from Kosovo has won also 3 Sundance main awards. So it's like we have seen, and also the institution, the national, like the national level has seen the importance of film, but also has seen the importance of film education. So it all around the advocacy part that us, such as festivals, have also as a responsibility in advocating towards film education, but also providing these spaces where, and also education platforms where they can learn to create to create films and achieve these kind of results.
Thanks. Anyone?
Well, actually, in the Netherlands, the government invested quite some money 2 years ago for film education. So now we have 9 film hubs throughout the whole country, regional film hubs, and a network of film education. And all the festivals and all different kind of film education organizations are part of that network. And the main goal of the network is to get film education in the curriculum of schools. So not only in a project way, but really like structured way in the curriculum. And they focus also mainly on the teachers. So they focus on teacher training center and to help them with their professional development, and also teaching about film and making that like a structured thing in their lessons. So I think we're quite lucky with that investment from the government, but we're still developing. But that's a good thing.
Yeah, the very last informations we have about national situations across Europe go back to 2012, when for the first time the very first report on film education across Europe has been released. It has been curated by the BFI on behalf of the European Commission. The name of this report is Screening Literacy, Film Education in Europe, and it drafted the very first state of art of film education across countries in formal and non-formal education. It's quite an old-fashioned report now, and 10 years have passed. But I would like to, I'd be very interested in knowing something more about national local situations across Europe. In Italy, the situation has undergone relevant changes in the last 3-4 years after the approval of the national new law in 2016. But let us understand a little more from Czech Republic.
As I said something a little at the end of my presentation, the situation in the Czech Republic is not about film education, is not very good, but there is this hope in the form of this audiovisual association for film and audiovisual education, which gathers teachers, lecturers, and all enthusiasts who want film education to be in the official curriculum, because it's informal education these days in the Czech Republic. And still, for example, it's not clear who should be the garant if it is a Ministry of Culture, it's a Ministry of Education. So it's a kind of a mess. But there is a small group of enthusiast teachers who lead film education in their optional time. And I think everything starts in the University of Implementation of Film Education or Media Education and the Pedagogical Studies. And in the meantime, there are some workshops like in every other countries for teachers and for lecturers. And this association, they recently applied for funds, some Norwegian funds. They got it, and they start in the new year. They start online workshops for teachers, for both who want to deal with film practice, who want to teach children how to make film, and who want to teach children how to talk about film, how to analyze film. So they will be given this online workshop. Where the garants are companies and organizations that are involved in informal education for a long time. So fingers crossed, and hopefully it will get better in the future.
Yeah, we have a structure with 18 regional resource centers covering the whole Sweden, and all of them have this mission to work with film education. So it's like a good base. But as I mentioned before, we would need some more direct formulas in the curriculum, because now it's mostly more general formulas. There is also a possibility to apply for, we have this school cinema, so you can apply for money at the Swedish Film Institute, and that is also something that the regional resource centers are working with to support. And now they're also starting up a project with universities that are educating teachers. So that is like another way to go. If you cannot change the curriculums, you can maybe change the teachers' education, so they will get more film education on their schedule.
If there is any question, please don't be shy, because it's like an open discussion, as you see. We'll be very keen on that. Anyway, I think talking about national... Cristiana.
Yes, I have a question. Regarding the relationship between the teachers and the festivals, you talked about the instruction of the teachers, and before you talked also about how difficult it is to involve teenagers in cinema, to call them to your festival, etc. In your experience, how do you work with teachers? Which is your relationship as a festival with teachers, and which kind of connection you use on this topic?
You stole the question from my mouth. No, it's nice, because talking about national strategies means talking about school. And talking about school means talking about teachers. And talking about teachers in film means talking about how to engage teachers before engaging the students, before it's not the answer to the missing things we have in the formal curriculum, but it's something that helps and support circulation of film education practices across schools, even if not formal education. In Italy, for example, last year, a special national program for teacher training has been launched. During the pandemic, it was quite a harsh program. I was in the scientific committee for that. It was held by Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Education, and the purpose was to train around 27,000 teachers. It's 3 teachers per each school. We have more or less 8,000 schools in Italy, so the purpose was to train those teachers. Those numbers have not been reached because of the pandemic, every training was done by online. It was a 25 hours training, so it was quite complex, and it was based on film specificity, so film language and film aesthetics. It was based on the value chain, so that teachers could acquire more informations and more skills about the structure of value chain on film and audiovisual and ICT, because now film and audiovisual is also a matter of ICT, as you said in your presentation. And also another another training activity on management of a project, of a school, of a film education project into a school, which is not so obvious. So I would like to relaunch the question of Christiana, and please tell us about not only about the practices you have in your country about teacher training, but what you think should be necessary to train teachers and how those teachers could be trained, if there is a demand for teacher training in your country, and why why it's useful. We all know why it's useful, but how it can be formulated in order to be useful. I'm not sure that our experience in Italy is the best, but it's the first experience we had at that level, at the national level. So my question is about how and why and when and for what to train teachers for film education.
Say something. As I mentioned before, we have these regional film hubs, and one of the goals of the regional film hubs is to connect the schools with cultural organizations. And what we do, for example, and what I think works, is connect schools to like film coaches. So locally you have all these people which can be filmmakers, media makers, who help the schools adjust their curriculum and using film in it. So they connect like one of the film coaches to one of the schools locally. So it doesn't feel like someone from the south of the Netherlands has to learn to what we as Cinekid from Amsterdam tell them, but they're like locally matched to a film coach. And I think this personal approach works. And it depends on the school if they have like in a really intensive way, or if it's just like in a coaching way where they have a 1 hour a month in which they try to get inspiration and ask their questions about how to integrate film in their lessons. But that is one way of how we do it. So.
Yes, I think Jerzy, in his presentation, he mentioned this two types of education through the film and education for the film. And from my experience, it's easier to attract the teacher by working with education through the film. So that's what we try to do a lot with all the films that we screen. We look at the curriculums. We find different topics in the film, and we can say this could work for geography in year 2 or 3 in school, and this could work for history. And that is a way of attracting the teachers to get interested. I would wish that it could be more education for the film that would also be attractive, but I think that is not the case, not from my experience.
Yeah, I have to agree with Daniel and Jerzy in this case. In our case, also specifically, it has been education through arts in general, through the medium of animation. So what we do is that throughout the year, from September until June, we work with schools on going to schools and working with specific teachers to screen specific animations from the database of the festival that we have that deal with one specific topic that they can integrate within their curriculum or within their lecture that they have for that hour. In that case, that helps, and the teachers are more welcoming into accepting this kind of collaboration. But what we do then is also invite those specific teachers also within our cinema, where we screen our choice of film in this case, which would be more an artistic one and discussing, not something that falls in line with the curriculum, but something that we want to also present to the kids in this case. This has been a vice versa process that we have implemented in the city of Pea and in the schools in the region of Pea that have proven to be very helpful, and also keeping those teachers specifically engaged into these kind of processes.
Well, okay. We've been talking about national strategies. We've been talking about teacher training, but I think a key aspect in this is also cooperation, because you were talking about the National Association of Film Education in Czech Republic. I think that can be an interesting issue, because if you want to obtain something from government or to advocate correctly, it can be a nice way to create at national level some coordination. I think this is a nice occasion of cooperation. There can be more occasions of cooperation around specific programs, around specific projects like Castellinaria. But I would like to understand from you, what's your idea about international cooperation among festivals, for example, or between festivals and other kind of institution, and how it can empower and improve your activity? Because in my opinion, cooperation is a key topic. Also to, for example, we discussed about Lucas Festival, which has been a common inspiration for some of us. They used to work on participatory programming and young programmers since a lot of time. So I think cooperation is an important resource, especially now that, and this is quite a positive aspect of the pandemic, having a discussion with people in other countries is free of charge. It's no expensive at all. You just need to have a Zoom account. It's not like before you had to take plane and to go and stay in a hotel, and it's expensive, and you have to have a budget to do that. Now it's very simple to have a cooperation, fluid cooperation with partners, with people in other countries. So what do you think about the possibilities and the power of cooperation in pursuing our purposes?
I think it sounds like a great idea. I like collaborations a lot. I think it's very fruitful. Don't you agree?
I agree. Okay. Also, if you had experiences in that you can maybe share with the audience.
Definitely. I think that's why we are here, actually. We are sitting here because of the collaboration. And I think especially among festivals for children and youth, it's very important, the cooperation, because general film festivals like Venice, the films, they are going to distribution usually, some art house cinemas, but for children's films and for youth films, there is no distribution nearly, especially in the Czech Republic, for example. So we have to collaborate, of course, and we've been doing that for many years with the festivals around the world. The latest project we released was thanks to COVID, that we came up with a set of short animations, Czech ones without dialogues. We called it Czech the Czechs, and we asked our exotic countries, festival mates, if we can send them this set of short animations, and if they can distribute these animations to their children. So we cooperated with Mexican festival, Indian, Japanese, Korean, Ukraine, and then we got several videos and pictures of Indian children watching on laptop because of the COVID of these Czech films. So it was really wonderful. And you may know that in India it's usually with everything very high number of spectators. And so it's we can get its inspiration at some other festival. We can promote our national films. We can go to a festival in Netherlands and promote Czech films for children and youth. It's very, very, very important because I think it helps with the promotion when Czech audience hears or they can see the laurels from the other festivals that okay, it must be good, so okay, let's take children and watch it. So I think this is very helpful, and we help each other with some recommendations. I can ask, okay, can you recommend some good Dutch film for our festival? Can you recommend some good Swedish film for our festival? So it's really, really important. So yes, let's collaborate, please.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any other comment on this topic, there is another one that I raised before, because we've been talking about, I call them collateral activities, let's say, meaning something that is aside of the screening itself, of the activity, of the classic activity of the festival of submitting a proposal to the audience of a film, which is also about creativity, because we've been speaking about engagement of younger audiences. Maybe we can think about also engagement of teachers in co-programming. I was wondering that may be also an idea of like training. But mainly I don't remember who spoke about this, but there was someone speaking about a section of the festival in which a group of young audiences showed the films they do. And there are festivals in Italy and across Europe that work on that. And I think it's a nice occasion also to pursue that objective we were talking about before, like putting the passive user of the festival at the very center of the organization of the festival, of the activities of the festival. So in your opinion, what's the relationship between creativity in film and film promotion? What your festivals do in this, if you do something, or if you think it can be interesting to put together the two formulas for a festival? It's late. Well, I missed one question. Okay. Sorry? Me? Me. I only prepared questions, not answers. I like questions much more than answers. Anyway, I think we can go, Cristiana.
Yeah, I have a last question, if you don't mind.
I also have one, but do yours.
Oh, no, go on.
No, it's okay.
No, we already a little bit discussed about that, but we were discussing about collaborations, and at Castellinaria we really want to continue with this Castellineurope program, with this collaboration with you, and it would be great to involve also other partners. So my question is, could any of you nominate another partner festival to invite in Bellinzona the next edition of the Castellineurope?
Now. Official statement right now.
Yes, sure.
Official statement right now.
10 seconds to think about
No, but we speaking of collaborations, we are involved in this Nordic collaboration called NOISE, Nordic Junior Sessions, with the aim to support Nordic filmmakers making films for children. So I can nominate all my Nordic festival friends, but I need to only nominate one festival.
It can be a region and association. We will discuss it later if you want.
I can nominate Oulu International Film Festival in Finland.
I agree.
In Kosovo's case, what we collaborate a lot with DokuFest, which is the International Short and Feature Documentary Festival. So they do two programs when it comes to the education. One of them is that they have started this pilot project that now is in the second phase of integrating short documentary films into the curriculum of specific schools. So they are working with teachers, and the teachers are complying into integrating films as supporting material, audiovisual materials into specific subjects. But they are also working with the production of the young filmmakers. So they are engaging young filmmakers and teaching to them how to create short documentary films, and they are also producing those films. So I think they would be perfect for this.
My nominations. Okay. To be polite, I would try to nominate two festivals, one in Italy and one outside Italy. The one I nominate in Italy is a festival about a film type, film genre, that I think is very important in education, but it's not very common in educational project, which is documentary and non-fiction film, and it's the Festival dei Popoli, which is a very beautiful festival. Now there is a brand new director who's been appointed last year and is a very, very, very skilled professional. And so at the national level, I think we can more explore a little more the documentary in education, while abroad I nominate Lucas, which has been already nominated because they use this model of participatory programming since a long time. We have had a very recent collaboration with them for a project we are running on young programming. It's a brand new project, like an experimental project. We are launching, thanks to Europa Cinema, the network of film theaters, and in collaboration with the European Commission. And they are partners of this project also, so these are my nominations.
I would like to nominate Jeff Festival in Belgium. That's the one we work together with the most, and I think they're really good, especially in their education part already for a lot of years. So we also learn a lot from them, and we work together a lot for the Media Lab as well in developing the workshops. So yeah, that would be my nomination.
I would suggest two, one remote. I would suggest the Indian Film Festival because I think it would be interesting because now we are concentrating on Europe, but there are many festivals around the world. And so I would just suggest Jitendra Mishra Smile Film Festival. I visited it some time ago, and the audience is very, very special and very, very nice. So I think he could be maybe just online very good example of kind of exotic work with audience. And from Europe, I would suggest Dimitri Spirou from Olympia, because this festival is really old, and Dimitri Spirou has been running this festival for a long time, so maybe it would be nice to invite them. But it will be before their festival, so maybe it will be the same with Jerzy. So these are two nominations.
If it's okay, we can, Christiana, also give me your advice. We can close the session. I think we explored lots of aspects. My questions are over. I just have one to finish, which is the very complicated one. Of course, if there is any question from the destroyed audience, you can do it. But I think the very last question, which has flown, it's in the air since the beginning of the conference, is if you can guess what the relationship of the audience with cinemas as a place is going to be as we are going to come out of this period, hopefully, how it's going to change. If people will go back to the cinema because they miss it, and maybe they didn't recognize they missed it before cinemas were closed. So a psychological paradox, I don't know, but give me your advice. and then in a couple of years we'll meet again and see who was right.
I think it will be more important than ever to be together again and to meet in the cinema, and that is what we should focus on, to really create use the cinema as a great meeting place for a lot of different people, just to see each other and meet the film directors, and also to add additional events to the film screenings. I think that is something important because, as we mentioned before, only going to a movie theater, watching some strange film from Ukraine will not attract a lot of young people. But if you have also, I don't know, someone from Ukraine doing a dance performance in the cinema foyer, or DJing, or you have a breakdance crew or whatever, and also a discussion after the film, and a lot of other fun things going on connected to the film, then I think that is the future.
Okay. We apologize with the wide Ukrainian delegations watching us via Zoom, and please give us your advice also.
Yeah, we did this impact research this year with some of the children who went to the festival, and we had one question. What would you change if you were the boss of Cinekid Festival? And there were 3 things which were mentioned the most. Free popcorn, a disco at the end of the screening, and free iPhones. So maybe we can do something with that.
Food
Advice
is
from the
super
children.
important. Sorry. Food is very important. I would say that is something that we always hear when we ask the young audience what is a free food. It's important, I think.
Part of the I think it's okay. We can close the session. Cristiana, if you want to make a final remark on that.
I just want to thank you very much. Thank you all. And I hope that it was useful also for our audience in the room, at home. And I'm looking forward to continue this collaboration, to meet again, to meet with you. But I was thinking about the conference to meet with teachers too. And we have to create this circle of collaborations and to make cinema and film literacy grow together. Thank you.